Passione, I want to begin this video with a congratulations. You see, in the original 2006 Studio Dean anime, the stuff that you covered in this episode was covered through the entirety of episode 2 of the Studio Dean anime. Even most of episode 2 of this anime was covered in the beginning of Studio Dean's episode 2. So, Passione, I'm gonna have to congratulate you for basically making the Studio Dean episode 2 be put into 2 full episodes. You actually, did some pacing for this episode. So, yeah, I'm gonna have to give you a wholehearted okarato. Congratulations! This really, really makes me happy to know that they actually slowed down on the pacing of Onikakushi for this episode of Higurashi when they go. Yes, I'm gonna refer to this episode as a part of Onikakushi a lot because this is what this episode basically was. Yes, I know. This is Onidamashi episode 3. But to me, this just feels like an adaptation of Onikakushi because everything in this episode was in Onikakushi. Am I wrong to make comparisons between Onikakushi and Onidamashi for this episode? Because this is basically a repeat of what happened. This episode was a decent adaptation of Onikakushi. There's not that much I can say about it. It's actually a decent adaptation of that arc from the visual novel. The beginning scene with Rika's ceremonial dance at the beginning, I thought that was actually really well done. Like the end of episode 2, I really liked the festival scene and, well, ceremony scene, yes. Rika's ceremony scene, and I thought it was a really good inclusion at the beginning of the episode. Like, we actually got to see a little bit more to the brutality of what the ceremony represents. As seen through Rika hitting the, I think, was it flower or? No, it was the futon. The futon with the cotton in it, I think. Yeah, from the way Rika was hitting it with the ceremonial hoe, it looked pretty brutal. Like, if she was hitting a human with that would be a bloody ritual. So for her to hit a futon like that was awesome. The way they showed how brutal it could be if it wasn't a futon that she was hitting. I am warming up to the Higurashi GOU opening. I am gonna say that now. I'm warming up to the opening, but the beginning half. The second half, I'm mad about. Like, the second half, I'm mad about, but the song in the beginning half, I'm actually starting to like. It's just the damn Rika running scene that I cannot be a fan of. I cannot be a fan of that running scene. I'm sorry, I cannot get myself to like it. The beginning of this episode basically was a repeat of the events of Keiichi and Rena sitting down their cotton pieces down the river. Like, Rena explains why they do it and who Oyashio-sama is to Keiichi, for which no comments there about that. I have no comments other than the cotton looks so weird. Like, the way the cotton is put into the show, like the cotton pieces, they just look weird. I don't know. They just seem uncanny. And I actually like that. I really think their uncanniness is the scariest part about this show so far. This scene with the fucking cotton pieces freaked me out. I don't know why, but the cotton pieces freaked me out. They just look so uncanny, like it gave me Majika Madoka vibes. As Rena goes to find Mion and Satsuko and Rika, Keiichi comes across Tomitake, who is meeting up with a mysterious woman. But instead of talking to them like he does in Onikakushi, he walks away, as Rena stares down at either him or Tomitake. This scene is up to interpretation. Ooishi. They really make him to look like a snake. He looks like a freaking snake in half of his scenes when he's not showing his teeth. Ooishi kinda has a snake-like appearance. Stacy reference, 10 out of 10. There's not a lot I can talk about for this episode, so I gotta be a little bit stupid in my talks because there's not really that many comments I have. Like, Ooishi tells Keiichi about the curse of Oyashio-sama, the cases of murder and disappearances in the village, and yeah, I honestly just gonna have to state this now. This is a better version of how they went over things in the Studio Dean adaptation. Like, this is just the better adaptation of Onikakushi. Even though this is Onidamashi, This episode is basically Onikakushi, but better. Oh, okay, they did show the scene of Ooishi bringing Keiichi to Angel Mort and talking a little bit more about Ooishi-sama's curse at Angel Mort, and I'm gonna say this now. As Keiichi's walking home, you hear a sudden car horn and Ooishi appearing. That actually took me off guard because I forgot they went to Angel Mort. I actually forgot they went to Angel Mort at one point of the story, and that really took me off guard. Though, actually, yeah, wait. I do have one thing to talk about, though, about, what's going on with this adaptation so far. They have not actually confirmed that Tomitake is dead. In this episode, they never indicated about Tomitake's death. They just said that he and Takano went missing. Interesting direction. We don't know whether or not Tomitake is dead or not right now. He's probably dead. Don't get me wrong. He's probably dead. But, as of right now, he is missing, and that is something that should be, remembered. That in this episode 3, instead of confirming that he was dead like he was in Onikakushi at this moment, he's just missing with Takano. They haven't found his body. Very interesting choice. Like, I'm gonna say this now. That is a very interesting choice. And a choice that, I'm really wanting to see more of. I want to see how they develop this story more. Like, are they going to find Tomitake's body at some point? Like, are they going to have a sequence of Keiichi finding him or something? Because that would be kind of funny. Funny, horrifying, one of the two. Like, I want to see a discovery scene of Tomitake now. Like, if Tomitake is going to be fucking missing, I want Keiichi, or maybe even Satoko, to discover Tomitake and see their anguish. I really want there to be a scene of one of the kids finding him, because that would be really interesting to see how they react to the dead Tomitake. I want them to discover him instead of, Ooishi saying, oh yeah, Tomitake's dead. No, I don't want that. I want them to actually find Tomitake and get anguish because they see a dead body. That is actually a really sadistic thing to say. Anyways, after the Ooishi and Keiichi Angel Mort scene, we're gonna have to get on to the Keiichi and Rena walking home scene in this episode. I didn't get scared in this scene. I didn't feel the slightest bit of creep. I didn't get the slightest creepy feeling in me when I saw this scene. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm too used to the Studio Dean version, because the Studio Dean version was so fast and it took me off guard as soon as Rena yells, "You're lying." So in this version, I just didn't get the same impression that I did from, the Dean adaptation, or from the visual novel even. Like, even in the visual novel, I got scared. Like, this scene scared me in the visual novel, but here, I was just indifferent. I know, I'm supposed to do my thoughts on this episode, but I've not really said too many thoughts on this episode because I don't have many. I actually don't have many thoughts in this episode because there's not really much for me to comment on. Like, yes, I do have some comments about small little details, but not a lot of small comments. Especially for this scene. Like, this is actually one of the big scenes that you would expect someone to talk more about, but I have nothing. Like, it looks decent. It's just doesn't have an impact on me. Yeah, I don't have anything to say about it. It looks creepy, but I don't find it creepy myself. Like, yes, I can agree that it looks kind of spooky, but I didn't feel spooked. Let's move on to the final scene, where Keiichi gets a call from Ooishi, who's pretending to be a bookstore. A worker for a bookstore. No, Ooishi is not pretending to be the embodiment of a library. Anyways, when Keiichi gets the call, his dad picks it up, and we do get to see what Keiichi's dad looks like. I mean, I like his design, but I wanted the chat. I'm not going to go too much about what Ooishi was telling Keiichi, all except the basis of Rena was from Himizawa, moved to Ibaraki, had a few incidents, and got sent back to Himizawa. And during those incidents, through the scenes of a psychiatrist, the psychiatrist states that a lot of times during his sessions with Rena, she mentions Ooishi-sama. After their call, Keiichi's dad comes in with, tea. But there's something up. Keiichi didn't ask for tea. And Keiichi's dad mentions Rena was in their house when Keiichi's like, hold on. When did Rena enter this house? Oh crap. Rena was here the whole time, listening to my conversation about her with Ooishi. And during that realization, we saw a short sequence of Rena walking up the stairs, walking down the hallway, and standing at his door, staring at him. I mixed up my words, I'm sorry. But she's staring through the crack of his door, watching the conversation, during the moment of realization that he was not alone as he was making that call. The scene where she was watching Keiichi through the crack of his door as they were talking about her on the phone, that was creepier than your lying scene. That's one thing I'm gonna have to be honest about. This scene was actually a little bit more scarier than the scene that was supposed to be the super scary scene. I don't really have any more comments about this episode. I didn't really have many things to say about this episode. I did notice a few interesting things they chose to do with some of the characters and the way they did some of the scenes, but other than that, this was an overall decent episode. It was a decent episode of a retelling of Onikakushi. This is the best adaptation of Onikakushi, despite not being Onikakushi. Thank you everybody for watching this video. Leave a like, leave a comment, and I wait for episode 4 for things to go wild and maybe, just maybe, change in this fragment. So thank you everybody for watching this video. Leave a like, leave a comment, and I'll see you all next time. I'll see you all next time. Okay.
Okay.